Deep within the dense forests of North America, there are stories that refuse to disappear. Stories told by hikers, hunters, scientists, and even entire indigenous communities. Stories about something large, something human-like, but not human. For decades, thousands of people have claimed they encountered a mysterious creature walking silently through the wilderness. Massive footprints appear overnight. Strange, unidentifiable sounds echo through remote forests. And one controversial video from the 1960s still fuels debates today. The creature is known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. But the real question remains, is Bigfoot simply folklore and imagination? A case of mistaken identity? Or could there actually be an undiscovered species hiding in plain sight? Today, we're diving deep into one of the world's most famous unsolved mysteries. The legend of Bigfoot didn't start with modern internet culture or conspiracy theories. In fact, these stories existed long before modern civilization expanded into North America's wilderness. Indigenous tribes across the Pacific Northwest, particularly in regions now known as Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia, have shared stories for centuries about a large, hairy, human-like being living deep in the forests. Many tribes refer to this creature as Sasquatch, a name derived from the Salish language, roughly translating to wild man or hairy giant. Interestingly, these tribal stories describe Sasquatch not as a simple animal, but as an intelligent and mysterious forest dweller. Some legends portray it as shy and reclusive, while others describe it as a spiritual guardian of the forest. These oral traditions were passed down through generations, long before Europeans arrived in North America. For indigenous communities, Sasquatch was never considered a hoax. It was simply part of their understanding of the natural world. However, the story would eventually spread far beyond tribal folklore. Part 2. The birth of the name Bigfoot. The modern Bigfoot phenomenon officially began in 1958 in Northern California. A construction worker named Jerry Crew discovered a series of enormous footprints at a road construction site near Bluff Creek. The prints measured nearly 16 inches long, far larger than any normal human footprint. Crew made plaster casts of the footprints, and local newspapers published photos of them. The story quickly spread across the United States, capturing public fascination almost instantly. A journalist covering the story coined the term Bigfoot, and the name stuck. Soon after, reports of similar sightings began emerging across North America. Hunters described seeing large figures running between trees. Campers reported hearing heavy footsteps around their tents at night. Some witnesses even claimed direct visual encounters with massive, ape-like creatures standing over 7 feet tall. Over the decades, more than 10,000 reported sightings have been documented in the United States and Canada alone. But despite the number of eyewitness accounts, physical proof remained elusive. No discussion about Bigfoot is complete without mentioning what many consider the most controversial piece of evidence ever recorded. In 1967, two men named Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin were filming wildlife in Bluff Creek, California, the same region where the famous footprints were discovered years earlier. While riding on horseback, they claimed to have encountered a large, hairy creature walking along a riverbank. Patterson quickly grabbed his camera and filmed what would become known as the Patterson-Gimlin film. The footage shows a tall, muscular, ape-like figure covered in dark hair walking across an open clearing. At one point, the creature briefly turns toward the camera before continuing into the forest. To this day, the film remains one of the most analyzed and debated pieces of footage in cryptozoology history. Supporters argue that the creature's walking motion appears biologically natural and difficult to replicate using costume technology available in the 1960s. Some experts have pointed out muscle movement visible beneath the creature's fur. Skeptics, however, claim the footage is simply a man in a suit. Several individuals have come forward over the years claiming involvement in staging the video, although none of those claims have ever been conclusively verified. More than half a century later, the Patterson-Gimlin film still divides scientists, researchers, and enthusiasts. Beyond videos and eyewitness reports, researchers have attempted to gather physical evidence supporting the existence of Bigfoot. These include large footprints found in remote forest areas, audio recordings of unusual vocalizations, hair samples believed to belong to unknown species, and even alleged DNA evidence. However, most of these findings remain controversial. Multiple hair samples submitted for laboratory testing were later identified as belonging to known animals such as bears, wolves, or elk. Audio recordings of strange howls often turn out to match calls from wildlife like foxes or owls. In recent years, DNA testing has played a significant role in investigating cryptid claims. Some researchers claim to discover unknown primate DNA linked to Bigfoot, but these findings have not been accepted by the broader scientific community due to lack of peer review and replication. Mainstream science generally maintains that if a large primate species existed in North America, there would likely be stronger biological evidence, such as bones, fossils, or verified remains. So far, none have been confirmed. There are several theories attempting to explain why Bigfoot sightings continue to occur. The first and most widely accepted explanation is misidentification. Black bears, for example, can stand upright and walk short distances on two legs. In low visibility conditions, a bear could easily be mistaken for a humanoid creature. Another explanation is psychological. Humans naturally search for patterns and familiar shapes, especially in unfamiliar environments like dense forests. Fear, darkness, and isolation can cause witnesses to interpret ordinary wildlife encounters as something extraordinary. Hoaxes also play a significant role. Over the years, numerous individuals have admitted to creating fake footprints or costumes to attract attention or financial gain. However, some researchers propose a more intriguing possibility: that Bigfoot could represent an undiscovered or extinct species that somehow survived in isolated ecosystems. Some theorists suggest Bigfoot may be related to Gigantopithecus, an extinct species of giant ape that lived in Asia hundreds of thousands of years ago. The theory suggests that a population of these primates may have migrated across ancient land bridges into North America. While fascinating, there is currently no fossil evidence linking Gigantopithecus to North America. Despite decades of investigation, Bigfoot continues to capture global fascination. Part of this endurance comes from humanity's deep connection with mystery and exploration. In an age where satellites map nearly every inch of the planet, the idea that something large and unknown could still exist feels both thrilling and unsettling. The Bigfoot legend also thrives in popular culture. Movies, television shows, documentaries, and internet communities constantly revive public interest. Entire research organizations and expeditions are dedicated to tracking and documenting potential evidence. Additionally, vast wilderness areas in North America remain largely unexplored. The Pacific Northwest alone contains millions of acres of dense forest, rugged mountains, and remote terrain capable of hiding large wildlife populations. For believers, this leaves the possibility, however small, that something could still be out there. So, is Bigfoot real? After decades of sightings, investigations, and controversy, the truth remains unknown. Science has yet to confirm the existence of Bigfoot, and most evidence presented so far has failed to withstand rigorous verification. But what keeps this mystery alive is not just the evidence, it's the stories. Thousands of people across generations and cultures continue to claim they have seen something they cannot explain. Maybe Bigfoot is simply folklore shaped by fear and imagination. Maybe it's a misunderstood wildlife encounter. Or maybe, just maybe, there are still secrets hidden deep within the forests of our planet. Until undeniable proof is discovered, the legend of Bigfoot will continue walking quietly through human history, just out of sight. And who knows, The next time someone ventures into the wilderness, they might not be as alone as they think.